If you're on a journey of self-discovery and self-betterment, you've come to a point of some type of spiritual awakening and somehow have fallen into a path of personal development, much like myself, you've probably had a lot of difficulty coming to the realization that believing in yourself and doing better is actually much harder the more focus you put on doing better and believing in yourself. Even the term do better has kind of been slandered at this point, where people just use it as a phrase to brush off how they feel about others, projecting that if they're not doing better, it's slanderous and kind of loses meaning, and it makes you feel bad about actually what the essence of it means. With the self-work journey, you end up with a lot of these identity fractures. I remember when I started my multiple year path towards ultimately sobriety, I had a lot of identity fracture at the beginning of it. So much of my life was attached to bar culture, being involved, getting together with friends around drinks, around drugs, around just general intoxication. And even my work environments were attached to that. Working in service industry, working behind bars, working in music industry, all of it was this projection of a continual feed of liquid courage that ultimately really did not make me thrive as a human being. And when I recognized that coming down from that meant losing a bunch of friends, not necessarily losing them, but loving people from a distance and not associating in those same environments of toxicity, there was a lot of distress and discouragement moving forward, saying I wish to live a more principled life and a more structured life, become more aligned to myself. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the identity fractures that may happen amongst this spiritual journey, this awakening, this journey of personal development. And we're going to talk a little bit also about how some of those things that may seem negative in those identity fractures, some of those identities that seem negative, actually are just sort of a double-edged sword. You can use those things as positive reinforcements, and even though you may beat yourself up for some of those identity qualities for certain experiences that you had in the past. My name is Drew McClellan. Welcome to my channel. I have spent most of my life as an artist and a musician, a songwriter, a lyricist. As default, I've spent a lot of time in customer service, service-based economy. Like many of us in the Western world, we are somehow ingrained with this service-based economy, and I've been a bartender, a tip pay employee for the better half of my life. I also help people currently with brand development, personal branding, and their social media content creation. And I just want to keep sharing these videos to help us all become the best leaders that we can in our lives, and as a support system for others going through this whole cataclysmic transformation in our inner worlds and our outer worlds. First off, practice this. Write down the various identities that you may hold each day. There will probably be new ones revealed to you as you think about this more, but start out basic. Like for me, example, I am a son, I am a husband, I'm a brother, I'm a worker, I'm a bartender, I'm a musician. Maybe you're a businessman, maybe you're an entrepreneur. Write down these basic things. Maybe you're a father. Really just get them down on paper to recognize what are all these different identities that you're holding in your life, and what's put you in those positions to hold those identities, and recognize what different feelings come up around those identities as well. Don't be afraid to recognize and go deeper on some of these identities and how they make you feel. Because oftentimes they have multiple sides to them. For example, one of my identities, I'm a shit talker. There's been a lot of scenarios where that shit talking has been fucking hilarious to the situations that I'm in. Lots of laughs come out of it, all in good humor. And there's other times where that shit talking gets nasty. You see this very apparently in bar settings or any kind of cultural clique settings. Everyone wants to be cool. There's a lot of projection out there in the world of clout and hipsterdom and all that stuff. So there's a very easy example to see how, you can have a lot of benefit from it, but it also can be a very, very ugly thing, and that stuff may fester inside of you. Secondly, we are all living in this positive, negative polarity lifestyle. We are technically a neutral current that drives down the middle of these polar opposites. Positive and negative behaviors happen all around us and keep us in balance, and that can weigh into some of these identities that we build. I'll give another example. Something that has landed me in a service industry type job for so long, and something that has made me actually good at it, is a people pleaser mentality. As a middle child, I naturally took it upon myself to rectify some of the discomfort that was between my parents and my older brother, and I wanted to be on good terms with my brother. I wanted to be on good terms with my parents. That personality trait I took further into my lives naturally to want to make a great customer experience, want to make people laugh even if I didn't know them, to become entertaining to people in the moment. In a lot of ways, that is an identity that I'm proud of, but for a while when I was recognizing this people pleasing and really understanding where it came from, I had a lot of resent towards myself about it, and I beat myself up a lot about why I was doing all this people pleasing. Was this people pleaser even me? Was I just being fake? And this whole time I was putting on this facade for everyone around me and not getting to the core of the real me. Now I've learned even just over the past few months, that if there's a people-pleasing element and it's because I'm holding in repressed feelings and emotions relating to not being able to feel what I want to say, not being able to actually express my truth to people, that is negative. There's nothing good that comes from pent-up aggression and pent-up feelings that you don't feel like you can bring into coherence and process naturally. But on the other side, I still am a bartender today. I serve people all the time, and I make a fun time out of it. Does that have to be something that I feel shitty about all the time? No. I mean, often when you're having a good time with friends or even just people that you've met in public and you're laughing together, that is so much more of a gift than it is just a negative trait that you should be wallowing in. And I'm speaking for myself personally. Maybe you can relate with it. So just because some identities seem negative and you can point to different pieces of your past why they are negative, doesn't mean that they will always be negative, and it doesn't mean that they are solely negative either. And lastly, different identities are okay to have for different settings and different situations, different friends. This doesn't mean be a different person around each person that you are around. Naturally, you want to be the most genuine you, and your friends and family, the people who are attracted to you, will appreciate you being your authentic self. But I always said that, all of my friends are not necessarily going to be friends with each other. And that's okay. There is a certain boundary and a certain biosphere in which all relationships exist in anyways. I heard someone the other day refer to it as fishing friends. Some people you don't need to go layers and layers deep with about your personal journey, or you don't have to talk about the extents of your past and your struggles with addiction with. Some people you can just get together and you can fish with. I don't really fish, but this was my version. This was my version of bar friends and stuff like that. You know, I don't watch sports, but I can talk sports. I can joke with people. We don't have to go layers and layers deep. This is what I mean by you don't have to have the exact same identity to every single person you know. And it's actually healthy and beneficial to have varying facets of yourself displayed across different social groups and interactions. For example, there are some things within my family, like for example, like my parents, I can go very deep with about other members of the family. Naturally, everyone likes to gossip to a certain extent. But when it comes to delicate things within my own relationship, within my own psyche, struggles that I've had relating to maybe addictions or self-loathing, we can only go so far, and that is okay. Not everyone needs to know all of those layers deep. And I feel that if you have recognized this and you're still continuing on this journey, not giving up on yourself, and learning what it is to believe in yourself and go deeper and do better, you will find yourself dissecting these identities and recognizing that you are ultimately the generator of all of this life path, this beautiful experience that is moving forward. And I think you'll do very well as you continue on this journey. If you feel like you resonate with some of this stuff that I'm talking about and you want to go a little bit deeper, I don't consider myself a therapist or a coach of any type really, but I do have some openings. You can find the link in the description. Check out some of the openings. I do free 30-minute calls and we can talk about various ways to progress in your life, or maybe you're building some content of your own that you're interested in. I'm all about the networking. I think we are stronger together. So we'll see you in the next video. Peace.